Okay. Say the line, Commie Bravo. Republicans want you dead. Republicans are trying to ban drag shows now in Tennessee. Let's learn together. Tennessee is set to become the first state in the U.S. to ban drag shows. Last week, the Tennessee State Senate voted in favor of a bill that criminalizes adult cabaret performances that take place in public or in venues where minors could view them. Adult cabaret performances include topless dancers, strippers, or male or female impersonators. You have to understand, one thing that we will be continuously bringing up throughout this is that what this does is makes it so queer people, folks who dress in drag, trans people, can't go out and dance. That means that these are bars that need stripping licenses, meaning that they can't serve alcohol. So a lot of these places are going to shut down out of fear. You know, the pro small business fan, your average pro small business enjoyer, Republican, very, spoiler alert, anti-small business. This means that people in drag, however, wherever that line is defined, queer people, trans people, aren't allowed to go out and dance. Otherwise, it's seen as a sexual performance. The State House is set to hear the bill on Thursday. If it passes, it will head to the desk of Governor Bill Lee, who has a track record of signing anti-trans bills into law. While Tennessee is likely to become the first state to formally ban drag shows, there are at least 36 proposed bills that target drag in at least 14 other states, including Arizona, Idaho, and Texas. Very unsurprising. According to the Washington Post, the current legislative session is the first in since at least 2015 to propose anti-drag legislation. Last night, my heart was broken as I learned that Tennessee's anti-drag/trans bill passed. Famous drag star Jinx Monsoon, incredible name, wrote in a statement on Instagram following the Senate vote, "I really had more faith. At this point, I don't know what else to say. We're fighting an uphill battle as a direct result of progress we have made." The legislative push to go after drag coincides with the rising attacks on drag queens. Last year alone, more than 120 drag events were attacked or threatened, according to a GLAAD report. Hate groups stormed into drag events. Far-right pundits like Matt Walsh, hey, we were just talking about that fucking weirdo and known child abuser, Matt Walsh, who loves talking about the breedability of underage teenage children. Far-right pundits like Matt Walsh compare drag queens to degenerates and pedophiles, and in November, a gunman targeted Club Q, an LGBTQ nightclub that was scheduled to host a drag brunch the following morning. The gunman killed 5 people, including 2 trans people. Earlier this week, Proud Boy members attacked a drag story hour in Washington, D.C. Really? Is there video of that? I am curious. Proud Boys violently attacked supporters at the D.C. area drag queen story hour. Also, this is what they think is indoctrinating your kids, okay? This is obviously a very sexualized individual. I think on my day-to-day life, I show more skin than this individual, you know? Is there video of this, or can we just assume that these people are fucking freaks? There was that show in San Antonio where entirely based John Brown gun club members showed up and protected, I think it was like some kind of drag event or drag story hour. Incredibly based. Okay. Some freaks showed up in Washington, D.C. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis even suggested last year that parents who take their kids to drag shows should be investigated for abuse. I wonder if he would have the same stance on parents who bring their kids to Hooters, or parents that take their little ones to the beach and they have like a little onesie, you know, that says, "Oh, I love beach babes," or whatever. You know, sexualizing kids in real material ways that are actually weird and material and are actually going on, but under the heteronormative umbrella? Probably not. Highly doubtful. Drag isn't even new, with some scholars tracing its roots back to Shakespeare, when men performed as women characters. Yeah, you have to understand also, this now says that a lot of plays are performed by people in drag. You can be watching, I was going to say Cats, but come on. We know who Cats is for. You can be watching some Shakespearean play. You can be watching Death of a Salesman, and it will be rated or shut down if there isn't a stripping license in place to show that it isn't, or to acknowledge that it is a sexual performance. That Death of a Salesman is a sexual performance because you have a man playing a woman, or because you have a woman playing a man. Freak shit. Absolutely freak shit. It's unenforceable. It casts the broadest umbrella that will affect your average, hetero, straight family, okay? In a cacophonous amount of ways. Unquestionably. Drag performers have been reading to their children for years, ever since Michelle T. launched Drag Story Hour in San Francisco in 2015, but the far right didn't target them until recently. A lot of these people are dressed up in costumes, akin to the story times that I went to when I was a kid at my local city library, where a woman would show up in some kind of a cis woman would show up in some kind of princess outfit with a bunch of makeup, and I fucking loved her. Oh my god, she was my hero as a kid. Got me into reading. What was the difference between what she is doing and what Michelle T is doing? One of them has the label of degeneracy for no absolute reason. They are reading Curious George, but maybe with a little bit of a different inflection. Many drag performances, such as drag queen story hours at schools and libraries, are age appropriate for children and can teach important lessons like acceptance and openness. Human Rights Campaign Arkansas State Director Eric Reese said in a statement about similar anti-drag bills in Arkansas to the one in Tennessee. Absolutely. These are not only really good, often free programs for kids, which is great for poor parents. My parents were poor as fuck. Are poor as fuck, and worked very hard to entertain us. One of those was going to, again, the story time at the city library or the school. And these are free events. This is something that will impact your average blue-collar worker. This is your pro blue-collar worker Republican right here, looking to strip away childcare. Free childcare. This is just another example of radical politicians in Arkansas spreading propaganda and creating more stigma, discrimination, and ultimately violence against transgender and non-binary people just to rile up extreme members of their base, the only voting bloc they are moving on these issues. As drag bans gain momentum, the LGBTQ activists and performers are speaking out about advocating against them. Drag is distinct from transness, but many lawmakers and pundits have conflated the two while pursuing attacks on trans and gender diverse people. And trans and non-binary people also have raised alarm bells. Rightfully so. They want you dead. Noting that bills targeting drag could be used to target trans people's movements in public. Exactly. Again, if you are a trans individual or a person who dresses in drag or a person that wears makeup, and again, where is that line? Fellas, you wear concealer when your skin's having a rough week? Fellas, you do a little bit of contouring, you know? I know a lot of these right-wing pundits are no stranger to makeup. What separates that level of drag, they are accentuating in some form features of their face. You know, where is that line drawn? Suddenly now you you are going to a bar or you're going out to the club with your friends to dance, and you are being labeled as performing a sexual act. Freak shit. Absolute freak shit. What does it mean for trans people? If I'm going through the grocery store, as I am, if I am in public, am I arrested just for walking down the street? Phi Dosh, a California-based comedian and trans woman, said to Vice News. The last 2 years have been the deadliest on record for trans people. I believe where it stands right now, as of the beginning of this year, and I can only say this with the news of Brianna J., there have been some 35. The number probably has gone up since then, within the past couple of weeks. There have been 35 murdered trans individuals before the end of February. This rhetoric, this legislation, actively calls for actions of genocide, at best passive genocide. According to the Human Rights Campaign and a Vice News investigation that found death threats targeting trans-inclusive teachers and healthcare providers are on the rise. All this is a part of a growing and ongoing movement to marginalize and criminalize LGBTQ people and gender non-conforming people, especially. Tennessee, along with several other states, is considering multiple additional anti-trans bills, including a ban on gender-affirming care for minors. Holy shit. Let's look into it. Earlier this month, South Dakota passed the first gender-affirming care ban that will force youth who are already receiving care to detransition. Christ. All right, we'll look at that too. Utah Governor Spencer Cox claimed he's already supporting queer people as he banned gender-affirming care for youth in his state. Wait, what? Governor Spencer Cox claimed he's supporting LGBTQ people as he banned gender... Oh, okay, so he's literally just lying. Why the fuck are you lying, song? And Florida's proposed reversed woke act aims to force businesses to pay for detransitions. Yes, they cut this off a little bit early. I think we'll be talking a little bit about the nefariousness of Florida later on, but the reverse woke act, woke again just meaning queer, person of color, what the reverse woke act does is forces businesses to cover detransition indefinitely, even after the employee in question is no longer with the business. So a lot of businesses are now forced into a position where they have to not hire queer people with that fear. Now, again, there's no shortage of studies showing that a very, very small percentage of queer people detransition, but it's that fear of 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, and within the luxury that is capitalism, the luxurious state of capitalism, most businesses don't last past 5 to 10 years. They'll be forced to pay for a detransition, whatever that looks like. It's genocide. It isn't outright hanging by the gallows. It isn't death camps. But it is genocide. It is forcing a population to not exist openly. It is forcing them into the streets, as these people will probably become homeless. Unfortunately, trans youths are incredibly susceptible to homelessness, to abuse further, and what that does ensures the lack of ability to remain self-sustainable. I wanted to look at this. South Dakota is going to force trans kids to detransition. Christ. First state to pass a law of this kind, and the second state this year to ban gender-affirming care. Oh god, my voice is fucking losing it. For people under 18. I'm going to keep going for as long as I can, but boy, oh boy, I'm still in recovery right now. Okay. Last week, the Republican-dominated state Senate passed House Bill 1080, which bans gender-affirming care, including puberty blockers, hormones, and surgery for people under 18 in a sweeping 30-4 vote. They want you dead. I cannot emphasize this enough. Study after study has shown the only way, predominantly, to prevent the suicide of queer people, of trans people, is to give them the gender-affirming care that they need. They want these children to die. It's cruelty. It's cruel to the kids. It's cruel to parents. It's cruel to their friends. It is genocidal to children. It also gives doctors who treat transgender youths 1 year to stop providing gender-affirming care to those patients, effectively forcing young trans people to detransition. Governor Kristi Noem signed it into law on Monday. This was written on February 14th. South Dakota's kids are our future. With this legislation, we are protecting kids from harmful, permanent medical procedures, Noem said in a statement. These procedures are not harmful. Again, many cis teenagers utilize puberty blockers to improve some quality of life. They are reversible. The reverse to puberty blockers is to stop taking them, and then your puberty hits like a fucking ton of bricks, okay? Gender-affirming care isn't harmful. Okay, in fact, it's life-saving. We went over this. Numerous medical governing bodies, including the American Medical Association, the American Psychological Association, the American Psychiatric Association, and the American Academy of Pediatrics, have endorsed gender-affirming care for minors. But that hasn't stopped several states. Have contradicted major medical governing bodies in the U.S. by either introducing or ratifying legislation banning gender-affirming care for minors. Now South Dakota is taking the onslaught against gender-affirming care a step further by forcing young patients to detransition. God. Okay, and it gives some resources. I don't think that we need to read all of this to understand that's absolutely horrifying. There was a video clip that I wanted to find. Here it is. That I think will encapsulate my feelings for sure, and hopefully those who are watching this. And I will just let it play.
Has already passed SB 3, and this next week the House will vote on it. If they pass it, it will go on to the governor, and regardless of whether he signs it, here in Tennessee, it can still become a law. If this law passes on April 1st, public drag will now be criminalized.
Sorry, I said I wasn't going to interrupt this, but yeah, April 1st. Hey, happy April Fools. You're getting genocided.
I could go to jail for 15 years for appearing outside in drag. Oh, shit! They also seek to classify us as adult cabaret performers. So that means that we would have to get a stripping license. If you have one of those, you cannot also have an alcohol license. So our bar couldn't even serve liquor anymore. This is an attempt to erase drag in Tennessee. This bill will further harm trans people who are literally just living their fucking lives. I need you to contact your House representative and tell them this will not stand. Urge them to vote no, because if they don't, this will make public pride illegal this year. Now, if you don't know, we've been having public drag in Tennessee for over 50 years, and pride began to commemorate the events of Stonewall. Back in Stonewall, we weren't allowed to do drag. It was criminalized. And so what happened when the cops came in and tried to beat us down? We picked up them bricks and sent them packing. The original Pride was a riot. And if this year we need to remind them that we will fight for our liberation, we will raise our bricks high again and let them know that we will not go quietly. I may need your help with legal fees because mama ain't quitting. I'll get arrested. I don't care. Somebody's got to be first. We'll sue the state. But whatever happens, we are queer people. We are very strong, and we will rise.
Damn right.
Thank you so much, y'all, for enduring that. Let's get back to your drag show. I would introduce myself, but that is the least southern thing that a lady can do.
Damn right. I don't know if there's anything much more to add to this that hasn't been said. By all means, Stonewall was a riot against cops. One that is, by the looks of things, set to happen again. Critical solidarity with queer folks in Tennessee. This is a story I really hope to not have to follow moving forward. Stay safe. Stay happy. As an act of resistance. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you're so inclined, feel free to like and share the video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more. If you would like to join chat on stream, go pop on over to twitch.tv/CommieBravo. I hope to see you there.